Okay, guys. So, sorry, we're going to do the developer session a little bit later. They had some technical details that they're working out. So I'm Brian, as introduced before. I'm going to go through. I'm the product manager for the wallets. So both the wallets that are in the app stores today, as well as the DashPay wallets that we're going to be talking about now. I'll start with a little overview and context. We'll talk about the onboarding solution that we've come up with. And how our phases and releases kind of compare to the platform. And then we'll get some sneak peeks on some of the designs. So Dana already gotten through some of the problems, but they are pretty well known, maybe a couple new ones. But it's just not really that easy for the average person to start using cryptocurrency, especially getting started. That's probably, I'd say, one of the biggest challenges. But even when you get going, there's still a lot of confusing technology, maybe even misleading, that scares people away. We know about ugly addresses. It's all super impersonal, right? There's also a lot of what I call rigid security models. So there's a lot of wallets that come out that they require and make you do certain things, or there's others that are very lax and don't really do enough, which maybe leads to concern. So that's a problem that we're trying to solve. So the value propositions, so what we're trying to do to solve these is the onboarding experience. We're hoping to tackle that getting started problem. The terminology, the flows, how things look in the screens. We want it to be super, super intuitive. And we want to leverage all that identity and profile information from the platform to make it more social and enjoyable. And then there's a security option. So when you need to enter your PIN, when you need to verify backups and things like that, we want to make it more flexible for all different kinds of users. So a lot of terms have been used for relationships. We've heard friends. I think I've even heard buddies mentioned. We're sticking with contacts. So that's the term that you'll see, sending a contact request, so that you can pay a contact instead of your QR codes and addresses. You'll still be able to pay straight addresses. It will be backwards compatible. But paying Dash contacts are more secure than paying with traditional HD wallets. And it's, you have a higher level of confidence on who you're paying when you're looking at, say, a picture or a name as opposed to a string of text. So usernames, a lot more popular recently over blockchains and cryptocurrencies. A lot of different examples, like Dana mentioned. These are just a few that I've looked at recently, but just like DashCore Group, we're trying to find a good balance between having, as much of a decentralized solution as possible. But there are centralized aspects of different things out there right now, whether it's just the identity or the data or even the features themselves. This is an interesting one, Foundation for Inter-Wallet Operability. That's cross-blockchain, but it doesn't have any wallet features. So again, it's a little different from what we're doing with DashPay. And then there's, I'm sure, many smaller projects out there, not completely clear if how much is centralized or not, what the status of it is, the robustness of the network. And that's important, obviously, especially if it is centralized or has any centralized aspect. If it's not a stable solution, it's just going to go away. So the data for DashPay is stored in different areas. It's all tied to this identity, which we'll hear more about on the platform. So we can share info between not only Dash Wallet users, but also other applications on the network. So that identity is very basic at first. It's just a username. On the DashPay Wallet side, if you don't want your username to be displayed as prominently, you can do a regular display name. All your contact information would be stored on the platform, as well as information about pictures and images. We're not actually going to store the images on the platform at first. Our first rollout, it'll be a more central location. Other things, fiat prices at a kind of transaction level, we store those on the device itself right now, but that is likely to move over to the platform, as well as payment requests, which will come later too. And then you have other applications. This is just one example, being a point of sale, which would want to have their own display name, obviously. So that's why we're not putting all of that right at the identity level. We want all applications to have that flexibility. but they may be able to leverage contacts from the DashPay wallet for certain users. So a lot of good cross-network access. So onboarding, a ton of challenges with this, but the biggest challenge, especially when we're trying to get brand new users, people who don't have any Dash at all, is that there are some network fees associated to creating, and getting set up on the network with a username. So we have to find a way to deal with that. We've talked about faucets, which is basically a way to automatically fund specific actions or events on the network. But with that, you have a lot of people who want to scam the system, bad actors, so we've put that to the side. Bulk sponsorships. I see that definitely coming down the road. Businesses that want to send a whole bunch of invitations to loyalty, users or other customers that they want to have use Dash at their location. We're going to start out with one-off invitations from the wallet. If you already have Dash, then you can just pay for it yourself. And we're not talking about heaps of money here. We don't have a final cost of the invitations, but they are expected to be under $1. That's almost a given for this at this point right now. But it's the costs associated with creating and registering these identities, usernames, the profile, and contacts. As part of that invitation process, we're going to do what's called an automatic top-up, so that we're not only accounting for and supporting the creation of the username and getting them set up, but also dealing with any other kind of contacts that they want to set up, profile changes, name changes, things like that. It should last the average user at least 1 to 3 years, and that's pretty conservative. Unless you're making more than 80 contacts and doing activity like that, then it should be a pretty good period of time. So new users will get invitations. They'll get topped up, and all that's kind of transparent to them. They have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. They got an invitation, and they can use the wallet. It's completely transparent to them that there are any fees associated to what they're doing in the wallet. And anyone can send invites. Anyone can receive an invite. It's not closed down in any way. And then existing users will just create their own. I don't have any fancy pictures from the history, unfortunately, but this shows just hopefully how easy it will be. It starts in the wallet. Bob, in this case, would create a transaction. It's a special transaction they're creating on the platform. And then that would get sent to Jane via email, text, or some other kind of private message. And I emphasize private. It is something that you wouldn't be broadcasting or sending on public social media, but it does cover like I said, the costs of the invite. Jane would click on that link. It would bring her to the wallet, and she'd automatically end up creating a contact after she's registered the username. So immediately after getting an invite, you've already got a contact. You're kind of ready to roll. So the release phases, you'll notice some staggering, and that's intentional. We're going to roll out versions of the wallet that are supported on EvoNet. The first is going to be very basic functionality for the creating and registering the username, and we'll be able to send and receive some test Dash. The next set of features, most likely on testnet, will be actual contact requests, sending and receiving payments to blockchain users, and our invitation process. I'm also looking at potentially doing some kind of a alpha program or some kind of a playful thing that we can do with the community potentially on a testnet. And everything you see between EvoNet and testnet, it could be on either one. The reality is we have to assess the state of the data on the network, the features that are available on the platform level on that network, and then we'll decide which one it is. But those are both testnets that we will be connecting to. And then there's a pretty big stagger on mainnet, and that's because we need it to be fully rolled out. It needs to be fully installed. It needs to be fully enabled with all feature flags before we can do anything. So once that's happened, we'll start our beta program. Could be a different point in time for Android and iOS, but but that would start. When we're comfortable there, we'd roll out to the public and enable the invitations. So that's how we see kind of things rolling out with the wallets. So really excited. We've got a new release coming out, completely redesigned wallet. So a couple things that it does. We've got some shortcuts up at the top. Our balance is a little bit more prominent now because our security has improved in the sense where we can kind of lock our whole wallet. We can hide and display the balance. We've organized the menu a little bit more, so it's a little bit more intuitive. And again, the security options as far as when you need to enter your PIN, if you leave the app, all of that. We've also, it's not shown, but the passphrase verification process also was improved quite a bit too. On the evolution, when evolution features roll out, you'll notice it's pretty similar in style. It just adds that extra social element of pictures. And again, the different views when you're going through the menu, changing your own settings, contact requests getting dealt with, and making payments. You'll notice paying and requesting as opposed to other types of functionality that you can do today. Couple future kind of concepts, both on the mobile side. Again, trying to play more with the pictures and the social pieces of it. Different views, kind of a completely different view that we've been looking at doing. Also, colors are a little bit more prominent in this kind of concept. And then kind of an idea of how it ties into the desktop. So having a nice set of uniform views on the mobile side and the desktop. That's it. Thank you very much.